Hi, I'm forced to make this video because it's a part of my school assignment, and hopefully me and my partner did a decent job and we don't fail after this, but I digress. So let's jump into our main topic of today's video, which is encryption. In short, encryption is quote-unquote, it's from Google by the way, the process of converting information or data into a code, especially to prevent unauthorized access. And yeah, that's about it. Unless you want to know more about encryption, more specifically, encryption methods, then you can safely click off this video and proceed with your life. But I recommend you staying because knowledge, and knowledge is power. We'll be covering 4 topics in this video: symmetric and asymmetric encryptions, hashing, applications of encryptions in the real world, and finally, a what-if scenario where encryptions either didn't exist or existed but were weak and useless. But before that, let's talk a little more about encryption. Generally, when people talk about encryption, they're probably mentioning the process of encrypting and decrypting, the 2 processes in encryption. When you're encrypting something, you're basically locking it down, so nobody else can touch it, except for you. No, wait, you cannot touch it as well, because you're gonna have to do the next step, which is decrypting. And as you might have guessed, it's when you're unlocking the thing you just locked down so you can retrieve it. First off, symmetric and asymmetric encryptions. The symmetric method uses only one key in the encryption and decryption process, while asymmetric one uses 2 keys. So let's make an example for our symmetric encryption method. So imagine you want to send a message that is written on a paper to your friend Peter that you have some sick new toys. But you don't want your other friend Tony, who's a bully by the way. I don't know why he's your friend, but he's a bully. You don't want him to know that you have new toys because you're scared that he might destroy them. So you put your paper inside a box and lock it down with a key. But for Peter to open it, you have to give him the key. And in the middle of transferring the key, it might get snatched by Tony, and he will be able to open and see the content inside the box. That's basically symmetric encryption, and obviously it has a pretty severe security hole, so asymmetric encryption was created to combat that problem. Here's an example of how asymmetric encryption works. Because you and Peter are smarter than the average 12-year-old, so obviously you guys already thought of the aforementioned scenario, you two decide to use asymmetric encryption method. Now you and Peter both have 2 keys. One public key and one private key. You two can have as many public keys you want to share to others. In this case, you two share the public keys to each other, but the private key must be kept securely. You use the public key given by Peter to lock down a box with a message then sent to him for him to then use his private key to unlock it. If the public key happened to be stolen by Tony, it would not be a big deal, since he wouldn't be able to unlock anything because its only use is to lock, not unlock. If he wants to unlock, however, he'll need the private key. If Tony got your private key, he will be able to unlock all the boxes that Peter sent to you, but not the ones you sent out to Peter. Why? Because those boxes that you sent to Peter, they're locked using his public key, so only his private key could unlock them. So that's basically asymmetric encryption. I didn't go into the details because that would be too complicated and boring, at least that's what I think. But let's just jump straight into our next topic, which is hashing. So, what is hashing? So according to Google, hashing is make meat or food into hash. Wait, that's not it. Okay, let's see the next one. So, come to agreement on something after lengthy. Okay, what? Alright, obviously we cannot rely on Google for the definition, so we'll have to do some research on some other websites. And luckily for you, I've done the research for you, so you don't have to. So here's the definition of hashing. Hashing is the process of converting something, say a video file, into a string of text that has a certain length that represents the file by using mathematical algorithm or formula. In other words, the file we want to convert is the input. The mathematical function that is used to convert is called hash function, and the result output is hash value. Pretty simple, right? Now you might be wondering, wait, is hashing an encryption? And the answer is no. Encryption is a two-way function, meaning what is encrypted can be decrypted as long as the proper key is available to perform that task. But with hashing, hash values cannot be decrypted into its original state. But why, you may ask? Because of the formula. Here's a simple one. 16 modulo 3 equals 1, right? But numbers like 4, 7, 10, 19, 22, when modulo with 3 will also result in a 1. So you have to guess the original number that was in the formula. Obviously, hashing algorithms are a lot more complicated than that, but the point I'm trying to make is that it's extremely difficult to find the correct formula that creates the hash value from the input, hence why it is so secure. And boy, there are a lot more to know when it comes to hashing. But to keep these videos short and simple, I have to cut some corners. If you're interested in this topic, however, you can always search what is hashing on YouTube or Google, and the results surely won't disappoint you. And now that we have learned a bit about some techniques in cryptography, what are the applications of encryption and hashing in the real world? We just talked about hashing, so why not start with that one first? Since hashing can compress large items into rather short strings that represent the items, it is especially useful in database applications since searching for a short string is significantly faster than finding the value of a, say, 10 GB file. And since hashing can provide file verification, some sites even provide a hash next to the file download for you to verify if the file you download is actually legitimate or not. That leads us to password verification. When you enter your password to log in, the site computes for the hash value of the password and then compare it to the one on their database for verification. What about encryption? What are its applications? Encryption techniques have been around for tens of thousands of years, if not as long as humans have ever existed. That's how old it is. Unsurprisingly, because of its privacy nature, it has been utilized extensively in wars to make exchanges between spies and the military less conspicuous. Another useful security technology is HTTPS. HTTPS is a popular encryption protocol that you'll be able to find on a lot of sites. And it protects user data from being tampered with and preventing man-in-the-middle attacks, ensuring user privacy as well as data integrity. What's a man-in-the-middle attack, you may ask? It's when an attacker interferes the connection between the person and the web without their acknowledgement to collect or steal data. Let's move on to our last topic, which is the what-if scenario where encryptions either never existed or existed but were useless. So, symmetric and asymmetric encryptions are obviously important since they allow cloud servers to be private and secure, as servers are constantly establishing connections and exchanging files to clients everywhere. Additionally, computers, phones, IoT devices, and other smart electronics all have encryptions built in. Right now, you probably have a password or biometric fingerprint set up on your smartphone, and both of them are just types of encryption, so yeah, not having encryption, not good. Hashing is also crucial. From what I know, databases might as well not exist without hashing, because without them, passwords and important personal information would all be stored in plain text, and we know how disastrous that is. Oh yeah, blockchain? Gone. No more cryptocurrency for you. All in all, encryptions and hashing, or just cryptography in general, is more important than you might think. Everywhere you go, there's encryption. Your phone that is always with you, your personal computer, smart home controllers, hell, maybe even your fridge has encryption if it's a smart fridge. Cryptography keeps our data safe, keep you, your friends, and your family safe, but most importantly, they make the world a better place to live in. Ooh, you're the best teacher in the world, thank you. No problem, my friend. I don't know what I'm doing.